There he goes.
Back he goes.
Man, what a blast. What a blast.
We'll do it all together with the practical sportsman.
Hello, sportsmen. You know, I read a lot of things about the outdoors today that I don't really agree with, such as catching fish isn't necessary or bagging a deer isn't necessary because just being outdoors is enough. Well, I really don't agree with that. To me, the objective of a fishing trip is to catch fish. I mean, anything else is a bonus. And that's what I'm going to talk about on this show. What's a bonus and what is necessary to make a fishing trip successful? Stay tuned. Well, I have here the flathead catfish I caught last night, about a 17-pounder. He's been on the stringer on the dock all night. There he is. He's a big boy. I mean, I'll get down here in shallower water and see him better. There's his underside. Smooth underside, and of course goes across the bottom, feeling with his barbels to feel and smell and taste for food with those things right there. I'll flip him over. See how he blends in color-wise with the bottom? Pretty neat. Now the skin on a catfish is real smooth. It's a little slippery, not really slimy, but well, yeah, it has slime on it, but I mean it's real smooth skin. There's no scales. These fins right here on a channel cat, they protrude, or on a bullhead, this dorsal fin protrudes and you can cut yourself on it. Same thing with the pectoral fins here on the side. You can feel the stiff spine in there. It's cartilage, but it doesn't protrude. So these catfish can't hurt you. Of course, they have a huge mouth on them. You can see the size of that mouth. They don't have teeth. Well, they are teeth, I guess, but it's just like a abrasive sandpaper type of, well, I don't know, you can just look at it right there. All that is just like sandpaper with little sharp edges on it, on the top and the bottom. So they aren't really sharp teeth like a muskie or a pike. But boy, they can grab things. I mean, I've got my thumb cut up by doing what I'm doing right here. Oh. But they stay alive for a long time. This one is going to be mounted for the museum. About a 17-pounder. We're going to go have him weighed. Isn't this awesome? Flathead catfish, master angler. Well, catching that catfish wasn't a bonus because that's what we set out to do. Now, getting a master angler patch from the DNR was a bonus, though. Now, I caught another flathead that night that we released. Now, you can get a master angler patch for a fish that you release if it meets a minimum length. Now, flathead catfish have to be 29 inches long. The one I released was 34 inches. Have a witness to the measuring, sign your master angler entry form, include a photo, send it to the DNR, and you can get a catch and release patch. Now, if you keep the fish and weigh it instead of measuring the length, the weight has to be done on certified scales. A witness to the weighing has to sign your form, send the photo and the form to the DNR, and you can get an award. Now, the minimum for a catch and keep flathead catfish by weight is 10 pounds. Now, I told you that my catfish was 17 pounds. Well, on certified scales, it was actually 16.52. But like any good fisherman, I rounded off to 17. I call that mathematical responsibility. I mean, who's gonna quibble about that? Well, I found somebody who did. Another master angler catfish fisherman who showed off his catfish, that was bigger than mine, of course, at our recent Fishing Awards banquet. This flathead catfish kicks my rear end around the block, Joe. Joe Jarnigan III from Grand Rapids. You were fishing Grand River.
The Grand River,
Well,
yeah.
we were fishing the Grand River. I caught this measly one half this size.
Yeah, I saw 16 pounds.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was close to 17. I like to call it 17.
16.5.
Come on, Joe. Cut me some slack.
16.52, I saw it.
I know, and you got the certificate here that says that you have the largest flathead catfish, or the third largest,
Third largest.
from 1998. There were two bigger than this
Two
one?
bigger catfish in this one.
30 pounds, that was almost 31 pounds. No,
Almost.
I'm not going to give that to you. It's 30 pounds, 15 ounces.
30 pounds, 15 ounces. Yes, it is.
I would have given you the 31, but nuh-uh. Well, you caught this on a 10-inch
I
crappie?
used a 10-inch crappie.
10-inch crappie is worth filleting.
You're absolutely right, but I've been fishing for this caliber fish for like 22 years.
No kidding. Well,
No
how
kidding.
did you do it? 8:30 p.m.? That's not even dark yet.
Oh, that's prime fishing time for us.
Okay, just before dark.
Just before dark, anywhere around in that area, yep.
Now, do you fish from a boat, from shore?
No, we fish from the bridges. Me and my best friend, we fish from bridges right along the Grand River between 6th Street and Wealthy Street.
No kidding.
Yep,
Right down in,
right downtown.
and you catch many?
And we catch quite a few catfish, yeah.
Are they mainly flatheads?
Mainly flatheads. There's a few channel cats in there. But we use live bait, and live bait seems to bring out the flatheads.
Now, where do you get the crappies?
Right out the Grand River.
Okay, so you catch them earlier in the day.
We catch them usually just about the time we start fishing.
No kidding.
We get rock bass, we get crappies, we get bluegills. As soon as we catch one, we put it on the hook and throw it out.
Now, how big a hook do you use for the flathead?
5/0. We use 5/0
Huge
on a
ones.
3-way swivel and 3-ounce weights.
Okay, and how do you hook the crappie? Through the
Right,
lip? Through the,
right behind the dorsal.
the dorsal. Okay. Well, we're doing everything right there, except you're catching the big ones. How long did it take to haul this one in?
It took right around 40 minutes to bring this fish in.
Man.
I couldn't have done it without my best friend. I mean, he netted it for me. And right after we got this one that we think was larger, got away.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So you caught this at the end of June.
Yeah, right around June 25th.
Have you caught any flatheads that big before?
Nothing this size. I think my next biggest record was 19 pounds.
Oh, come on. Was it
No.
really 19?
Yeah, 19
I bet it was
pounds.
18
No,
something.
Actually, it was 19 pounds.
I bet it was 18 something. Come on,
might
Joe.
have been 18,
It
but it
probably
was 19 pound
Yeah,
fish.
something like that. Well, that's outstanding. That sounds like some exciting fishing you're doing.
Thank
there.
you very much. We have a great time.
Well, congratulations.
Thank
Glad you came and shared that story of that river monster with us. I'm still calling my fish a 17-pounder, but I am planning to go with Joe and his buddy this summer after flatheads at Grand Rapids. Maybe they can get me into a really big one. Now, I said earlier that catching fish is why we go fishing. Now, some outdoor writers and some sportsmen nowadays try to minimize the importance of getting what we go after, saying that, oh, just being outdoors is reward enough, or catching fish or getting game is actually a bonus. Well, I don't see it that way. See, I think our reward is in achieving our goal, which in our case was to catch flathead catfish that night. Now, Pat and Dave spent $30 on big sucker minnows that night for the sole purpose of catching big flathead catfish. Now, certainly we would have had fun anyway if we didn't catch anything, but we also would have been disappointed because of all the time and the money and effort we spent wouldn't have paid off. Now, the bonus of fishing is being outdoors and seeing all kinds of wildlife. Now, in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you outtakes from our night on the Grand River. Now, these outtakes were the bonus. They weren't the main reason we went, but they are the bonus that we hope to find on our fishing trips. A big bonus of fishing is enjoying where you are and who you're with and when you're there. A 70-degree evening in August is ideal when your biggest concern is watching for a river monster to hit. Now, seeing other wildlife is a bonus. Like the deer we saw coming down to the edge of the river to drink. There are actually two deer together, and we watched their white tails flagging as they bounded off into the dark woods just as the sun was setting. Another bonus of the summer of 1998 was the lack of mosquitoes. There were lots of insects in the air, but none of them were mosquitoes or black flies or deer flies, and that was a treat in itself, to spend an evening free from bugs that bite. As the sun was going down in the west, the insect activity increased dramatically. Now, the Grand River is not a traditional cold water trout stream, but there are trout-type flies that were hatching that night. Now watch this fly take off from the water. We'll back up the tape so you can see it again. Right in the middle of the frame is what looks like a small mayfly, and now it's taking off. That was a mayfly that just hatched. There are thousands and thousands of larvae under the water that come to the surface every evening, unfolding their wings to fly off. Now there's another one on the left that escaped into the air. I say escaped because a fish didn't grab it, but making it into the air isn't necessarily such a great escape. Matt has the camera focused between the two boats. You can see all the insects in the air between us. Lots and lots of bugs flying back and forth. Now, you can't see these insects unless you're looking for them, and the light has to be right too. But these flying bugs provide constant meals for many types of birds that feed on them. I think it's interesting and relaxing to watch all the swallows and nighthawks and other insect-eating birds wing their way back and forth above the water. Now, they're flying with their mouths open, scooping up insect after insect. Big ones, little ones, even tiny gnats and mosquitoes. Now, if we were bird watching, and that was our goal, I'd have binoculars in my bird book, and I could tell you exactly what kind of birds these are. But the fact is, on this night, bird watching is incidental. Seeing birds is a bonus. Our objective is to catch some flathead catfish, hopefully at least one big one. Now, some people go out in the evening to watch insects or gather them for collections. At dark, the surface of the water is alive with rings from hatching insects. And to me, these rings are interesting patterns to watch. A bonus, because I was fishing. After dark, there are other interesting things to see as we wait for catfish to bite. Thousands and thousands of mayflies and other bugs churning around us. Oh, check this out. A red fox came down to the water to get a drink. Pat Witherall got it in the spotlight, but the fox didn't seem to mind. For a moment, it looked like the fox was turning around to scamper off, but it changed its mind and decided to come back to the shoreline to give us a good view.
Cool. Huh. Oh, that's awesome.
A red fox was a real bonus to see at night. We keep our eyes peeled for things like this. Now, it's not why we're out there on the water, but it's a part of the reason we enjoy it when we're not catching fish. Now, speaking of catching fish, remember I said we were fishing for big flathead catfish, ones that get up to 30 pounds and more? Now, that's our goal, our quarry, what we measure our success by on this evening, but catching other kinds of fish is a bonus. And here we have something other than a big flathead.
Is that light bothering you?
No.
Catching smaller fish is fun, but that's not why Pat and Dave spent 75 cents per minnow. On this night, we were after the big river monsters. Anything else to us was just a bonus.
Channel cat.
Is it really?
The fact that this was a channel cat wasn't really a bummer because we enjoy catching fish, but we hoped it would be a big flathead like we were after. One way you can identify a channel cat is by its deeply forked V tail. Flathead catfish have more rounded tails. This channel cat was not really what we were after.
You guys keeping it?
No.
The channel cat was a bonus. The big flathead was the main prize. That's a big boy. Look at that. The big flathead was not an extra frill or a bonus. It was the quarry we were after. That's some fish. Flathead catfish. If we were wildlife watching that night, catching catfish would have been a bonus, but we were catfish fishing that night, and seeing the wildlife was a bonus. If we didn't catch any big flatheads, the deer and the fox would not have made up for it. Catching big flatheads was our goal, and we had a lot more fun because we succeeded. Now, it was a bonus to see a great blue heron. I don't think the feeling was mutual, but the big bird at close range in the spotlight added to the aura of the fog on the water, the darkness, and the adventure of it all. Now, we like adventure. We enjoy wildlife. We like being outdoors, but let's not kid ourselves as to what we're after when we hunt and fish. Let's not forget that the big fish are the big fun. The rest is just a bonus, but it's all a part of what keeps us coming back.
There he goes. Back he goes. Man, what a blast.
What a blast.